Russia-Ukraine news. Trump avoids directly threatening to stop all funding to Ukraine. In an interview broadcast over the weekend, former President Donald Trump declined to say whether or not he would halt aid to Ukraine. The comments were made in the second half of a recent interview that was taped for Fox News, Sunday Morning Futures, with host Maria Bartiromo. Trump said, "Look at all the money we're giving to Ukraine, and yet Ukraine was paying the Biden family a fortune," referring to the U.S. military aid that Ukraine is receiving in its war against Russia and the alleged bribes that then Vice President Joe Biden received. "Would you put a stop to sending money to Ukraine right now?" Bartiromo inquired. Trump replied, "I'd get the war settled. First and foremost, I would tell Europe that they are over $100 billion in the red. Okay? The bill is on you. Europe is laughing all the way to the bank because of this. We're providing all of these, while Europe is barely scratching the surface. The impact is greater on them." When the first part of the interview aired last week, it caused some controversy because Trump had told Bartiromo that he would try to end the war by threatening Russian President Vladimir Putin that the U.S. would give Ukraine more weapons. "Both Zelensky and Putin are very familiar faces to me. And my connections with both of them were very positive and fruitful. No more," I would tell Zelensky. "You have to work something out. I'd tell Putin that if he doesn't make a deal, we'll give him a lot. We'll give it to them even if it's more than they ever had. I guarantee same-day closing. A day will come. In case you were unaware, most physical problems cannot be solved mathematically without first reducing the number of variables involved. The spherical cow joke on Wikipedia is my favorite related joke. Have fun with my condensed version." A dairy farmer whose milk output has dropped approaches university researchers for advice. A group of academics, led by a theoretical physicist, travel to the scene to lend a hand. They spend a lot of time on the spot studying the issue, and then they leave. The physicist returned to the farmer's house several days later and said, "I have the solution, but it works only in the case of spherical cows in a vacuum." This story isn't meant as an insult to the hardworking physicists who are slowly but surely unlocking the secrets of our universe, but rather to stress the need to look further than first-order solutions if we want to learn anything useful. John Stuart Mill, a politician, philosopher, and economist from England in the 19th century, began studying classical languages at the ages of 3 and 8, and later logic at 12. Mill's later work, on the definition of political economy, and on the method of investigation proper to it, is a fascinating essay with a dull title. This is what he said in it. As Adam Smith put it, economics is concerned with man solely as a being who desires to possess wealth and who is capable of judging the comparative efficacy of means to achieve that end. The term Homo economicus did not originate with Mill. His critics did, and in a derogatory way. Comparable to our round cows in a vacuum, economic man is a first-order approximation of rational behavior in a materialistic society. Large amounts of economic and behavioral research conducted over the past few decades have shown that adjustments are necessary to fully comprehend how the world of money and the pursuit of it really functions. Behavioral economics, or B for short, is a flourishing subfield of economics that has grown out of this type of study. Containing the letters B and BF, advocates of B have found that, in practice, no one always acts rationally and that everybody errs occasionally. The human condition is gloriously imperfect, and so is the necessity for trial and error. Therefore, behavioral economists put in extensive effort to grasp how people actually act in the world. Much B research, as I've mentioned before in Money Thoughts, centers on our actual actions during the buying and selling of goods and services. Next, we enter the field of behavioral economics, B, and its subfield, behavioral finance, BF. Not to be confused with the overused BFF, or best friends forever. Research in BF focuses on the all-too-human tendency to make poor choices in the face of volatile financial markets. For instance, the equity market and the fixed income, bond-dominated market have both experienced prolonged periods of falling prices over the past 3.5 years due to market disruptions caused by COVID, Putin, and then inflation. Homo economicus would never deviate from the primary strategy of amassing wealth, which is to buy low and sell high. The truth and value of the tried and true BLSH, buy low sell high, principle are well known, but both B and BF shed light on why so many purported believers in the principle nonetheless abandon ship at the wrong, low, time. Crazy travel. Since early 2020, when markets began to slump just before the WHO declared COVID-19 a global pandemic, it has been a difficult 42 months for me. Then, just as we were starting to get back on our feet, Vladimir Putin's rapacious declaration of war on the independent nation of Ukraine set off food inflation and a worldwide price spike that had been building for 15 years, ever since the 2008 global financial crisis and the ensuing excessive money printing by the world's major central banks. The U.S. Federal Reserve raised interest rates in response to inflationary pressures, leading to the inevitable collapse of asset prices. Many of my investment clients have shown remarkable fortitude by sticking with me and my advice through this ordeal. They purchased at a low price and are now breathing a sigh of relief. Still, I observed some customers giving in to worry and selling at bargain basement prices, just like my colleagues. Having met both B and BF, I now have a deeper appreciation for their apprehension. The truth is that those who seek to amass wealth in this world will always be in for an exciting ride. As a licensed financial planner, the bulk of my work still involves advising clients on long-term investment strategies and encouraging those who are more conservative to save more gradually over time in order to amass a cushion against future market surges. In good times and bad, we should all know ourselves better to plant the seeds for future prosperity well into the 2030s and beyond. Roman statesman Marcus Tullius Cicero said, "While there's life, there's hope." This was in the 1st century BC. Permit me to add that as long as we have hope and continue to live, we will be able to grow from our experiences and eventually succeed.